What if I told you the universe might not exist until you look at it? That your very act of observation, of simply being aware, is what breathes reality into form. Not metaphorically, but literally. This isn't some ancient riddle wrapped in poetry. This is science, quantum physics to be precise, telling us that particles, the building blocks of everything you see, don't choose a state until they are observed. Now pause. Let that sink in. Because if your observation shapes reality at the most fundamental level, what does that mean about who you are? What is this mysterious power of awareness that seems to bend the rules of existence itself? This is not just about physics. This is about your life, your consciousness, your place in the cosmos. In today's journey, we're venturing deep into the realm where science kisses mysticism, where ancient truths hidden in dusty scrolls meet quantum paradoxes unveiled in sterile laboratories. We'll begin by peering into the quantum realm, a space so bizarre it defies all logic, where the infamous observer effect reveals that nothing truly exists as a thing until you, the observer, bring it into being. Then we'll explore how mystics, sages, and spiritual traditions from thousands of years ago may have already understood this strange dance between mind and matter, long before we had equations to describe it. But most importantly, we'll bring it back to you. Because this isn't just theory, it's power. The power to reshape your life by shifting how you see it. The ability to reprogram your reality through perception, attention, and awareness. So stay close, because what you're about to discover may not just change how you see the universe. It may change the universe that you see. Long before particle accelerators and wave function equations, there were those who spoke of reality as illusion, a divine dream shaped by the mind of the observer. The ancient Vedic sages of India called it Maya, the grand illusion. They taught that the world we see is not the world as it truly is, but a projection, filtered and colored by consciousness. In the Upanishads, the seers declared, "As is your desire, so is your will. As is your will, so is your deed. As is your deed, so is your destiny." They believed that what we perceive is inseparable from how we perceive it. This wasn't mere philosophy. It was a sacred science of the soul. Across the seas in Egypt, the mystery schools of Thoth whispered similar truths. The Emerald Tablet, an artifact of profound Hermetic knowledge, boldly proclaimed, "As above, so below. As within, so without." The observer, the initiate, was not apart from reality, but an inseparable part of it. To know oneself was to begin shaping the fabric of the cosmos. In Greece, Plato's allegory of the cave described humans as prisoners, mistaking shadows for truth. Only by turning inward, by observing differently, could one step into the light of real knowledge. So why were these teachings veiled in riddles, hidden in symbols, and protected by oaths of silence? Because power, misunderstood, becomes chaos. Because the ability to shape reality, if wielded without wisdom, can unravel not just society, but the soul. As the ages turned and empires rose and fell, this sacred understanding dimmed. Dogma replaced insight. Matter was declared supreme, and mind was relegated to illusion. The age of mechanical materialism dawned, but hidden currents always persisted. The Gnostics, alchemists, and mystics across cultures guarded the flame. They knew what you call the external world is not a fixed object, but a living mirror, responsive, intelligent, alive. It reflects your inner state, like water reflects the moon. Fast forward to the modern age. Physicists, peering deeper into the heart of matter, began to discover something unsettling, that the deeper they looked, the less they found. Solid particles gave way to probabilities. Reality itself became smeared, undefined, until someone looked. The ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science, it seemed, were circling back to the same revelation. You are not in the universe. The universe is in you. And yet most remain unaware, programmed to believe they are passive observers in a cold, indifferent cosmos. But you, watching this now, are beginning to remember. This is not new knowledge. It is ancient knowing, reawakened. In the next chapter, we will journey into the quantum realm itself, where particles dance to the tune of your gaze, and reality waits for your attention to take form. Stay with me. The veil is beginning to lift. Welcome to the quantum realm, a place so alien, so fundamentally bizarre, that it defies everything we assume about reality. Here, an electron, the smallest particle of matter, does not exist in one place until you look at it. In experiments like the double-slit experiment, a beam of particles is fired at a screen through two narrow slits. If no one observes, the particles behave like waves, passing through both slits at once, creating an interference pattern, as if they exist in multiple places at the same time. But place a measuring device, simply observe the particle, and everything changes. The wave collapses. The particle chooses a definite path. The interference vanishes. This is the observer effect, and it shook science to its core, because what it suggests is staggering. Reality behaves differently when it is being observed, not metaphorically, literally. Now imagine this: a tree in a forest. No eyes to see it, no consciousness to perceive it. In the quantum view, that tree isn't standing there in the way we think. Its particles are in a state of probability, neither here nor there. The act of observation, the focused attention of awareness, draws it into form. Does this mean the universe only exists when we look? That may be extreme, but it does suggest something deeper, that consciousness and matter are intertwined, that the mind is not outside the universe, watching it like a spectator, but inside, embedded, an essential part of the unfolding equation. In the words of physicist John Wheeler, no phenomenon is a real phenomenon until it is an observed phenomenon. He proposed the idea of a participatory universe, a cosmos in which observers don't just witness reality, they help create it. Now let's pause and consider what that means for you. If your observation can collapse a wave of possibility into a physical outcome, then your perception is not passive, it's generative. You're not just reacting to reality. You are, in a very real sense, selecting it. Your beliefs, your focus, your state of consciousness, they aren't just internal experiences. They are filters, projectors, keys that unlock one version of the universe over another. What you expect, you invite. What you focus on, you collapse into form. What you fear, you empower. This is not positive thinking. This is quantum responsibility. And yet this is not new. The ancients knew. The mystics knew. And now the physicists are beginning to confirm. Consciousness is not a byproduct of matter. It may be the fabric from which matter itself emerges. In other words, you are not a mistake in the cosmos. You are its central mystery. So the question isn't whether the universe exists without you. The question is, what version of the universe are you creating now? In the next part of our journey, we'll dive deeper into these mysteries, unpacking quantum paradoxes, consciousness fields, and why your reality may be more malleable than you ever imagined. And we'll explore a truth so profound, so hidden in plain sight, that it changes everything. You don't just observe the world. You choose which one you step into. If the observer brings the world into focus, then what happens when there are many observers, or none at all? This is where quantum physics dives into deeper, stranger waters, into paradoxes that rival the wildest myths. Consider this. In 2020, physicists carried out a modern twist on the famed Wigner's friend experiment. It showed that two observers can perceive two different realities at the same time, and both can be valid within their own frame. Yes, two realities, simultaneously. It's as if the universe isn't a single, fixed timeline, but a spectrum of potential experiences, each collapsing into form through individual consciousness. You aren't just living in the universe. You may be living in your universe. Let's pull back and explore this through an esoteric lens. In the Hermetic tradition, reality is often described as mental, a thought form within a greater divine mind. The Kybalion teaches the all is mind, the universe is mental. This implies not just that your mind shapes reality, but that reality is mind, unfolding in degrees of density. In modern terms, this aligns eerily with the idea that space, time, and matter emerge from deeper layers of quantum information, interconnected, observer-influence fields of energy and probability. So, where does this leave us? Right at the threshold of a mystery deeper than physics alone can answer. What is consciousness? Science has no agreed definition. It cannot locate it, quantify it, or fully explain why it exists. Some researchers are now proposing that consciousness is not produced by the brain, but rather the brain is a receiver, tuning into a larger, universal field of awareness. This is exactly what yogis, mystics, and shamans have said for millennia, that your personal awareness is a thread woven into a great cosmic tapestry. When you observe, you are not just collapsing quantum states, you are reaching into the divine code, shaping energy into experience. Still, not all interpretations agree. Some argue the observer effect is misunderstood, that it's not human consciousness, but any measurement that alters a quantum system. A photon detector, for instance, isn't conscious in the way we are, but here's where it gets fascinating. Even if observation doesn't require human consciousness, it still implies interaction, relationship. The system changes when it is connected, observed, engaged. In spiritual terms, this reflects the ancient law of correspondence. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything responds, everything is relationship. And then, there's the multiverse theory. If every possibility exists simultaneously, then for each observation, every outcome occurs somewhere. You simply align with the one you observe. In other words, reality may not be fixed. It's selective, and you are the selector. This is the secret behind synchronicity, manifestation, even miracle. Not that you force the world to change, but that you shift your point of awareness, and the world you perceive follows. So the real paradox is this. You are both insignificant in scale and utterly essential in design. You are a single drop, and yet the drop contains the pattern of the ocean. The observer effect is not just about physics. It is a whisper from the edge of existence, a message encoded into the nature of reality itself. You are not here to witness the universe. You are here to awaken within it and shape it. In our final descent, we will take these revelations and bring them into the light of practice. Because knowing the truth means nothing until you live it. Now that you've glimpsed the truth, that your observation shapes reality, what do you do with it? How do you step beyond passive witnessing and become an active co-creator of your world. Let's begin with your most powerful and often overlooked tool, attention. Your attention is not passive, it is creative force. Wherever it rests, energy follows. When you focus on fear, the quantum field collapses around possibilities that match fear. When you focus on gratitude, the same field rearranges to reflect abundance, peace, and resonance. So the first practice is simple, but radical. Guard your attention like sacred fire. Practice 1. The observer's pause. Take moments throughout your day to stop, just stop, and become the observer. Close your eyes, feel your breath. Ask, what am I witnessing right now? What emotion? What thought? What energy? By simply noticing without judgment, you shift from reacting to choosing. You step out of the illusion and back into the seat of the observer. And from there, you can choose a different lens. This is the heart of alchemy. Not changing the world, but changing the self that sees the world. Practice 2. Conscious reality shifting. Each morning, before you touch your phone or your worries, ask yourself, what version of reality do I choose to align with today? Visualize it, feel it, not as something out there, but as a state of being you already inhabit. The more vivid your internal experience, the more powerfully it tunes your external reality. It's not magic, it's resonance. Your brain is not just a processor, it's a tuner. Shift the frequency and the signal changes. Practice 3. Sacred perception ritual. Once a day, take 5 minutes to observe something ordinary, a leaf, a glass of water, your own hands, with reverence. Imagine that your gaze is not just seeing it, but awakening it, that you and this object exist in a shared field of awareness. Watch how the object subtly changes. Watch how you change. This is the mystical practice behind many ancient traditions, the idea that presence sanctifies. That observation, with love, attention, and awe, reveals the sacred in the mundane. Common pitfall, the illusion of control. Here's the paradox. You can shape reality, but not through force. Trying to control outcomes, gripping, pushing, demanding, moves you out of alignment with the field. The true observer influences through harmony, not coercion. Instead of asking, how do I make this happen? Ask, how can I become the version of me to whom this already happens? Because the field does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are aligned with. Final practice, the observer's journal. Each night, write down a moment where your perception changed your experience, where shifting your mindset shifted your reality. Over time, you'll begin to see a pattern, and that pattern is your power. So remember, you are not a prisoner of circumstance. You are not merely reacting to the world. You are observing into existence a universe that mirrors your awareness. The question is not whether this works. The question is whether you will learn to work with it. In our final passage, we'll reflect on everything you've learned and leave you with a question that could echo through your consciousness forever. So, does the universe exist without you? Perhaps the better question is, what kind of universe exists because of you? You've now seen what mystics have whispered and quantum physicists have stumbled upon. That reality is not some cold, fixed machine, ticking away regardless of your presence. It is a living tapestry, woven through awareness. You are not a passive witness. You are the eye through which the universe sees itself, the observer, the shaper, the dreamer dreaming the dream, then waking within it. From ancient temples to modern labs, the message echoes. Your perception is the portal. Your attention is the wand. Your consciousness is the command. And though you may feel small, though the stars stretch beyond imagination, know this: the same mystery that dances in galaxies moves within your breath. You are not outside the cosmos looking in. You are the pulse behind its unfolding. So the next time you find yourself in a moment of uncertainty, fear, or doubt, pause, breathe. Remember, you are not just experiencing reality, you are creating it with every thought, every belief, every gaze. And now, dear seeker, I leave you with a question. If the universe mirrors the observer, then who will you choose to be tomorrow? If this opened your mind or stirred something ancient in your soul, subscribe, share this with a fellow observer, and remember, you are more powerful than you were ever taught to believe.